My name is Catalina Cordova, and I am proudly serving as the city's census coordinator. I work closely with members of our Complete Count Committee, or Municipal Complete Count Committee, the MC3. And they're all here today joining us. We just had a really good session. And we are working on an efforts for the 2020 census, especially with hard-to-count communities. Mayor Fischer appointed me when he established the MC3 to raise awareness about the importance of the 2020 census and to motivate everyone in our community, our residents, to complete the questionnaires. The MC3 is comprised of Louisville Metro staff and community faith leaders and nonprofit organizations. In less than 9 weeks, yes, 9 weeks, Kentucky households will start receiving invitations to participate in the 2020 census. We need all the help that we can get and all the help from everyone in this room and many other communities to spread the word about the importance of the census. We have prepared a media package that includes flyers and informational contact information as well. And our website also has a lot of resources that you can go to, and that will be louisvilleky.gov/census. I want to thank the mayor for his leadership in preparing for the 2020 census and all of the efforts, and also to the co-chairs, Katie Dellinger and Ashley Parrott. Thank you so much, ladies. In a few moments, we will hear from the mayor, but first we would like to present a brief video.
What is the 2020 census? The census counts everyone living in the country, and it records everyone who lives at your address on April 1st. The data can be used to inform important funding decisions that affect your community. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
All right, well, Happy New Year, everybody. How we doing? Well, I see a lot of our great city leaders, and I look out here. I appreciate y'all participating in this once every 10-year adventure. Thank you, Councilwoman Green, also for you being here. We got to have the council very active in this as well, and I know that you all will be, because this obviously is a really big deal for us as a city for a lot of the reasons that you went through. And when you think about the United States Census performed every 10 years, does anybody know when the first census was? 1790. So think about that. So we've had, 23, 24 censuses. Is that right? Censuses? It's not censi or what have taken place in our country. So it's kind of, a huge tradition in America to stop and answer kind of a fundamental question, and that is, who are we? Who are we as a country? Who are we as a city? And when you think over those 23 or 24 censuses, think about how our country has changed. And when you think about our city just in the last 10 years, think how we've changed as a city. So it's really important that we take stock and understand, who we are today, so we can really think about where are we going and who are we going to be tomorrow, and who do we want to be tomorrow, and how do we make sure that we have the resources to make sure that we can create whatever that journey looks like. So it's a city of equity, a city of compassion, a city of innovation, and make sure that we're getting our fair share of the federal pie that comes with a sentence, with the census. So this is incredibly important data that goes a long way in determining what the future of our city is going to look like. So I know part of your all's job, and I really want to thank you for being part of this, is to get folks to understand this is a different thing than, when you just get something in the mail asking you to complete a survey or somebody stopping you on the street. This is like a fundamental responsibility of living in our country. And remember, the census is for all of our residents, okay? I'm particularly concerned, and mayors all over the country are concerned about our immigrant population, our foreign-born population feeling a little uneasy about participating in the census. But we want to count every resident that we have. And so people need to make sure that they understand that as well. There's obviously a lot of upside as we count everybody, and if we don't, there's downside. So this in the past, Kentucky, when we've lost population relative to other states, we've lost seats in Congress. Obviously, we need more seats in Congress. In my view, we need more seats representing certainly the city of Louisville. And so we've got to do everything we can to avoid that loss of representation, because when that happens, we lose influence. And all of us feel like we've got something to say, somehow to make our city and our state and our country a better place. But if we're not being counted, we don't have a say. So that's just one fundamental kind of democratic reason to participate. But the census is also a factor in grant funding, research, business decisions, and a lot more. So it ties into what we're trying to do with the University of Louisville, for instance. University of Louisville is a R1 research institution, but the more population we have here, the more that's going to help them with research dollars. The more it helps them with research dollars, the more it helps our students, which is our kids, right? And the more jobs that it brings to the community. So it's really about a whole lot more than just filling out our survey. On the basic stuff, and I think you guys know a lot of this, how much money do we get for education? How do we fund our school lunch programs? How do we provide our teachers the resources that they need? So this is real life, day-to-day, where the rubber meets the road kind of stuff that we may not think ties to the census, but the census is what drives this every day, and it will for the next decade as well. And that's why we've asked you all to help us. This MC3, Catalina, thank you so much for your leadership and your passion behind this. I love your story. I'm sure you told your story earlier today, didn't you? You've told it before. But, you know, what a beautiful story about America, you know, about especially with some of our immigrant communities where mom and dad, you know, don't have the language skills as their kids. And that leadership role shifts oftentimes in families that are multi-generational like that. That is part of the American story, right? And it's a really cool way for us to make sure that everybody is completing the census for us. Now, areas that we want to focus on, as I mentioned, the most undercounted area. Can I give a quiz? Did you go through this already? What's the most underrepresented area with the census? Children under the age of 5. Good job. That's right. So how do we make sure that we're emphasizing that? I don't know if people forget that they have kids under 5 or whatever, but if anybody's ever had kids under 5 or grandkids under 5, you don't forget them, okay? And then make sure that they don't forget you. Is that right, Renee? How old is your oldest now? 11. You have 3. You don't forget these kids, do you? Never did. So let's make sure that our young kids are being counted. And then we got other groups in our city who also are being at risk of being undercounted. I referred to that earlier with our immigrants and foreign population who might have privacy concerns or might have heard some kind of urban rumor about a census. But we want our friends in the immigrant community to know that we understand those concerns. As you know, we're very proud of our status as a welcoming community. So people from all over the world understand that they are welcome in our city. As a matter of fact, most of our population growth, and Edgardo will tell you this, has happened because of our foreign-born community. Well over half of our population growth. And you have to grow as a city to create new economic opportunity. So we're very proud to see our foreign-born community continue to grow, and that's a big goal that we have to make sure that we even are attracting many, many more. Many of you all have been at events where I've said, my ask of you is to get more of your cousins here. You know, your brothers and sisters, have them move to our community so we can establish our foreign-born community, who we know, and no insult to multi-generational Americans, but our foreign-born community is more likely to start jobs, pursue degrees. It's a community that's safer as a community as well, so a community benefits when we're becoming more and more of a diverse community. So let's just make sure that everybody understands that the census is safe and it's confidential. It's easy, too, and important. And this is the first time that all households will be invited to complete the census online, and they can also respond by email. So we got choice, respond by phone or by mail. So it's the first time we've done this. So you all know the drill here. I'm saying a bunch of stuff for these TV cameras in the back here. But in mid-March, addressees will receive a mailed invitation to respond online. And then if there's no response to the online invitation, a paper form will be mailed with options to respond to the form or by telephone as well. So 3 options: online, phone, or mail back the form. So I think we're making it as easy as possible. The form only has 10 questions and takes about 10 minutes or so to complete. So let's make sure everybody does this. Tell us what we should be able to do to get the word out even more. Now, the census, the other part of it is, it also represents a job opportunity. The 2020 census is still hiring thousands of temporary workers. So these jobs obviously need to be filled quickly. So if you know somebody that's interested, if you're interested, please apply. People can apply online at 2020census.gov/jobs. And the Louisville office of the U.S. Census Bureau opens on January 21st. So we're going to be hearing a lot about the census over the next few weeks and months, and it's all of our jobs to keep pounding this home where everybody understands 2020 is a census year. Have you completed your census? Yes, I'm proud to have done that. So I want to thank all of y'all here, all the partners, for being part of this MC3 committee. When we look back on this and, halfway through the year or so, we'll say we've done a good job. Make sure that everybody is getting counted here. And as I said, if there's anything that we need to do that we're not doing, please tell us what that is as well, so we can step up to that plate and make sure that gets done. Okay? So I think we all know the importance of this, and now let's go forth and do it.
Thank you. We at JCPS are certainly committed to making sure that every child is counted. We know that billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars really, are at stake here. So important. This funding will be used, as Eduardo said, for our ESL population, to help with free and reduced lunches at our schools, to help with school technology, after-school programs, and special education. All areas that are extremely important to us at Jefferson County Public Schools. So what we will do from our communication standpoint is make sure that we have all the information out to as many people as possible. So we have a big platform on social media. We'll be using social media, we'll be using videos, we'll be using the organizations that we partner with, like Metro United Way. We'll be empowering our PTA members to make sure that they have the information to share with parents. We have our parent advisory committees, and we'll be telling this to them so they can be ambassadors about this as well. We'll be working with our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty to make sure that they are able to reach some of our hard-to-reach population and those who are hard to count. We'll also be working with parent events. So when we have parent-teacher conferences coming up next month, we will make sure that our teachers know this information. They can share it with their parents to make sure they know that this is coming up in March and how important this really is. We'll also be working with our Family Youth Services Coordinators. So these are our folks in the district who work with our families who are in the most need, and they make sure they have the resources they need. And so we'll be working with them to make sure that they tell families about this, make sure they understand the importance of this. And we're also working with early childhood, too, to make sure that our youngest population, like the mayor said, from birth to 5 years old, to make sure that those young people are counted.
Thank you. We are thrilled to stand by your sides in this work at JCPS and all the partners here. What a privilege and joy it is to mobilize around the census effort with you. At Metro United Way, we care about the census for 3 reasons. It's dollars, it's data, and it's democracy. We know $15.8 billion a year, billion with a B, comes into our state based on census allocation. And that is for schools, it's for roads, it's for healthcare, it's for housing, it's for transportation, it's for food programs. You name it, the infrastructure and everything we interact with in our daily lives is impacted by this count, which is why, as Edgardo was saying, it is our count and we must own it. It's also about data, because data determines where emergency services go, where those schools and roads go, and our business community also uses it to decide where they're going to have storefronts, where they're going to make additional jobs available, and they will do their own production work. And it's democracy, and it is the soul of democracy. It is about representation. It determines apportionment. We lost a seat in 1990. We don't ever want to see that happen again. And it's districting for state and local government. It is critical that no community is marginalized because of a low count in the census. Their voices should be heard in government. And just to break it down even further, it's those children who aren't counted, those are our children. Those hard to count populations are our neighborhood, our neighbors. The hard to count communities are our community, and this is our future that we are counting on. We all have a role to play, and that's why Metro United Way is in this work. Many of you know we care deeply about the success of our youngest children, our children 0 to 5. In Kentucky, we estimate that children were undercounted by 12,000 in the last census. And we know in Kentucky, if you break it out per capita, every person brings in $2,021 for being counted. And that's not just me if I'm responding for my family. That's me and every single person I count in my household. We cannot miss out on that kind of resourcing to support our children with child welfare programs. So we're thrilled to be engaging in this work. We are very happy to say that with the support of the Humana Foundation, we've been able to procure a mobile census lab, which is a set of 25 devices that can connect to Wi-Fi, and that we also have jet packs that we can connect to in any area of the community. So we are going to be in places where our youngest children and families are this spring, ensuring that they can complete in the 10 minutes that it takes, and they can count everyone in their household. We talked about children being an undercounted population, and we can't quantify, every reason why a child may not be counted, but I do want to say it's important to remember if a child is in your household, whether or not you are their parent or guardian, if they are living there, you should count them. If you have a child who lives in multiple homes, please count them where they are most often. And if you have a child who is really spending equal time in homes, count them where they are on April 1st, Census Day. And we can get Catalina where I learned all of this information. But that's important to remember. We're going to be working in our child care settings and in other places outside our public school system where we know our youngest children and parents of our youngest children are, to ensure that they're part of the count, and also working in our hard-to-count neighborhoods where we're very, very grateful to stand by the 100 partners we have in our United Way networks to ensure that every single person is counted in this census.
And I just want to remind everyone, Census Day is April 1st, 2020. Let's go out there and do it. Thank you.